Hello everyone and welcome back to the video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the GOAT of Smash Ultimate, which is of course Mkleo. If you thought it was anyone else, you are wrong, and he hasn't been performing as well as of late, especially to his standard, which is extremely high, and there is a lot of different reasons for this, and a lot of them are just external reasons that we can't pinpoint, but one of them that we can pinpoint is going to be his character choice. This is a conversation constantly throughout the Ultimate community. Leo should drop Aegis, he should solo main Joker, bring back the Ike, and in today's video, that's what we're going to be talking about. Which character should Mkleo play to get the best results? I also want to preface this by saying I personally think that Mkleo should be playing a multitude of characters just because I think that's the better way to play Smash Ultimate, but for the sake of the video, we're just going to be narrowing it down to one. The first thing that we need to do is figure out which characters we're actually going to be choosing from, because Mkleo has played a ton of characters at the top level throughout the history of Smash Ultimate, so we're not going to be introducing any new characters in this video just because there's already so many to pick from. He should play Snake though, and the criteria that I've said is he has to have won a major with the character, which includes Joker, Byleth, Aegis, Ike, Corrin, and Lucina, and I'm also going to be throwing Marth in there just for the point of conversation. Editing proof block here. Some of my sources are telling me that Leo did use Wolf and Greninja at Ultimate Summit 1, and technically that was a major, but I'm not going to be counting them, and don't worry, they wouldn't have been the choices anyway. Now, the first character that we have to eliminate is going to be the easiest one by far, and that is Ike. Listen, this isn't any offense to Ike personally, he's just not a super great character, and there are some niches for Ike, like he does okay versus Game & Watch, but he doesn't fill any of the niches that Leo needs, so kind of expectedly, Ike's the first one to go. And the next character is another one that's fairly easy to eliminate, and that's going to be Marth. And I want to say that I think Marth is obviously way better than Ike, and Marth can win a Super Major. If all the stars align, you're hitting your tippers, you're getting some good reads, your neutrals on point, you can absolutely win something with Marth. But that's not really my problem with the character. My problem is, okay, that's great, you can win a Super Major, but can you top 8 a Super Major every single time? With Marth, I don't think that you can do that. The character is just too naturally inconsistent. Now, I will say, if there's any player in the entire world who should play Marth over Lucina, it's Ignace. But Leo's Marth is also pretty good, and I could see him doing some pretty great things with the character, but I think especially as a solo main, it's just not really a great choice. Now that we've gotten rid of the easy characters, we're down to just 5, which is Joker, Aegis, Byleth, Corrin, and Lucina, and this is where we actually start looking at the numbers. We're going to be going over all the times that Leo dropped a set at a B tier or higher in 2023, starting off with Let's Make Big Moves. He ends up dropping a set to Tweak and Sonics. At Genesis, he ends up dropping a set to B-Days. He does still win the event. At Collision, he ends up losing to Riddles and Shiny Mark. It's not on this list because I'm sorting by 100, but at Summit, he ends up dropping sets to Gluttony, Akolo, Riddles, and Apollo Kage. At Major Upset, he ends up dropping sets to Spargo twice. At Battle of BC5, he's going to lose to Zomba and Kameme. Crown the Third, he's going to lose to Zomba again, as well as Jackal. Wave Dash, he's going to drop a set to Sonic, still wins the event. At Gomla, he's going to drop a set to Sonics again and Light. At Rise and Grind, he's going to lose to Skinny the Pooh and Riddles. And finally, at Luminosity Make Moves Miami, he's going to lose sets to Karama and Shattuck. Editing proof block here. PG Stats, for some reason, doesn't have the results of Smash Factor X or Delfino Mazza, but at Delfino Mazza, you have Leo losing to Skyjay and then Gluttony, and at Smash Factor, you have Leo losing to Spargo and Gluttony. I'm also not going to be putting as much emphasis in players that Leo has lost to in 2023, but still has a positive win rate versus, and only 3 people are going to fall into that category. The first one's going to be Mides. He does lose in the winners finals of Genesis, but he manages to beat him in the grand finals twice. For Karama, he is going to lose at Luminosity Make Moves Miami, and we'll get to this in just a second, but overall, he is still beating Karama, winning at Major Upset and Crown the Third. And then finally, you're going to have Light, who he did lose recently to at Gomble, but he was able to win sets at Genesis and Let's Make Big Moves. We're not completely throwing this information away, and when we're looking at a matchup chart or something specific in a little bit, I'm still going to include them, but it's just not as important to me. Skyjay is also going to be in that list. Leo wins at Battle of BC, loses at Delfino Mazza, then wins both sets and Main Game Fest Mini. Now, the reason that we're getting rid of players that Leo has a positive win rate against is because it's fine to drop a set, especially right now in Smash Ultimate with the level of play being as close as it is. It's almost expected, and just because he lost a set one time to one guy and then beat him on the other occasions, that doesn't mean that he struggles against that character. That doesn't mean that's a bracket demon for him. He just lost a set. Now, what we're trying to find is which players are Leo consistently losing to and which characters is he consistently losing to. And the majority of his losses are going to be from the former, but there is one character that Leo has been struggling with, and y'all probably all know who I'm talking about. In the past 3 months, Leo has dropped 3 sets to 3 different Mario players. Now, I know I said I was only using B tier and higher events, but this helps my point. At the Hooters event, specifically the one that took place on September 28th at 7 p.m., Leo does drop a set to Superdog, which is Mexico's best Mario player. Then at Rise and Grind, he's going to drop a set to Skinny the Pooh, which is his worst ever loss in Smash Ultimate, at least at a major event. And no offense to Skinny the Pooh, that guy's insane. He beat Mkleo, but it's just a fact. And then you're going to have Luminosity Make Moves Miami, where he drops a set to Kurama, who he hasn't lost to since Frostbite 2020. So clearly, there's a bit of a Mario problem here. And the problem with this Mario problem is Leo's characters do really well versus Mario. Lucina is winning, Martha is winning, even though we already eliminated him, I just wanted to point it out. And Aegis is also going to be winning. In the evenish tier, it's going to have Joker and Corrin, so this one is a bit of a tricky situation. Now, I want to point out that Leo hasn't always been struggling super hard versus Mario in 2023. This is more of a recent thing. At Major Upset, he goes through the Mario Gauntlet, beating Dark Wizzy, Luo, and Kurama, and he beat all of those players with Aegis. And if you look at the set that he lost to the recent Mario players, he's going to be playing Joker, Byleth, Marth, and Lucina. So I'm going to give Aegis some pretty big points there, and I'm not going to dock points from the other characters, but I'm also going to give Corrin a little bit of points just because he hasn't tried it out yet, and I think it would be a decent choice. The main takeaway from that should basically be, I don't think that Leo has too many character matchup problems aside from Mario and maybe a little bit of Pikachu, because he has dropped sets to Esam in the past. He drops that set to Shiny Mark, but to be fair, Pikachu isn't common enough of a character for that to be a massive problem. So in terms of characters he's struggling with, I would say the only big one is Mario. Now that we've talked about all the players that Leo's lost to in 2023, we can bring up the character that they play and which counterpick is the best for Leo. I got a list right here. You're going to have Sonic. I think the best choice for that is going to be Corrin. Diddy Kong is Corrin in my opinion, but Tweak has it as Aegis, so we're going to go with him. Kazuya is going to be Aegis Joker. Pika is Aegis. Rob is definitely Aegis. Wolf is Joker. Sora is Aegis. Mario is Lucina and Aegis. Both are good. Corrin is Joker. Steve is Aegis. Snake is Joker. Wario is Joker, Aegis, and Lucina all doing well. Incineroar is pretty much anyone. I honestly just think Leo lost to Skyja. They're not really a matchup thing. Cloud is Joker, Peach is Corrin and Lucina, and Fox is Joker Aegis. So my math may be a little wrong here, but Corrin has 2 picks, Aegis has 9 picks, Joker has 7 picks, Lucina has 3 picks, and most importantly, Byleth is going to have 0 matchups where she is the best choice, and for that very reason, she's out of here. So the next character to go is obviously going to be between Corrin and Lucina, and I have matchup charts for both these characters. You're going to have the Lucina one made by Leon. It's a little bit old, but it's the most recent one I could find, and in the hard losing tier, you're going to have both Sonic and Diddy Kong, which is pretty pressing. Slight losing, you're going to have Kazuya, Steve, and Sora, which isn't super great, and in slight loses or even, you're also going to have Cloud, so it's not looking super great there. She is going to have a couple wins, like Mario, for example. She's going to do decent in that matchup. She's going to have maybe a win versus Fox, but it's nothing incredible. You look at the Corrin matchup chart. Now, a lot of the struggle matchups are going to be an even, but in +1, you're going to have Steve in there, you're going to have Wolf in there, you're going to have Rob in there, but more importantly, in the -1, the only character that Leo has dropped a set to in 2023 are going to be Fox, and they're going to be Pikachu. So just based off this matchup chart alone, I'm going to be heavily favoring Corrin and kicking Lucina out. Also, this matchup chart was made by Shaq. We have narrowed it down to our final 3, and in my opinion, this is the most important criteria in the entire video. Who are the players that Leo is losing to the most consistently, and who are the characters that he's losing with? These are the 6 players that he has the worst record against in 2023. Technically, Tweak, he's only lost to once, but also Tweak has won 4 times in a row versus him, so we're putting him on the list. Sonic's, now they've traded sets, they're 3-3 in 2023, but Sonic has managed to beat the Aegis, the Joker, and the Corrin, the only player in the entire world to do that. Tweak has beaten the Joker in 2023 and then the Aegis previously. Zomba is up 2-0 in 2023, he's beaten the Aegis. Spargo is up 4-2, he's beaten the Aegis and the Joker. Riddles is up 3-0, he's beaten the Joker and the Aegis, and Gluttony is up 3-0, as well as winning 6 sets in a row, beating the Joker and the Aegis. And y'all will notice something here. Corrin, she's not appearing on this list too much. Now, that is largely because Mkleo hasn't tried the Corrin versus a lot of these players, but if you look at the matchup chart, Corrin does decent enough against all those characters, going at worst even versus them, beating a couple of them. And I think that's what Leo needs. He needs to change something up because clearly these head-to-heads aren't going into his favor, and for that reason, Corrin's going to be my choice. And if you're somehow not convinced yet, I'm going to give you my 5 reasons on why Corrin is my choice for Mkleo. The first one's going to be that Leo's Corrin never really lost super hard. The Joker's been down in the dumps, the Aegis has been super down in the dumps, the Byleth hasn't been as good as of late, but Corrin never really had a struggle period. She lost to Meister at Call SL, then got retired forever, then came out of Wave Dash, looked super good, and we never saw her again. Leo just kind of shelved this character. I'm sure he has his reasons, but I don't know them. Aegis is not going to be my choice because even though she's better on paper, and does really well into a lot of Leo's struggle matchups, in practice, it just hasn't really worked out for him. Joker is super, super difficult, and Leo himself on his podcast has said that he doesn't really have faith in the character, so it wouldn't make a ton of sense for me to recommend it. The arguably biggest point, though, is going to be the Gluttony head-to-head. He has been struggling in this matchup so hard. Gluttony's adaptation is the best in the world. It is so hard to beat him the first time, and the second time, it's like twice as hard, and then it gets 3 times as hard the third time. It is just insane how good his adaptation is, and I think Corrin could be the thing that it needs to maybe throw a wrench in Gluttony's pen, catch him off guard, and maybe actually start winning some sets there. And the final reason, and arguably the most important one, is Corrin is super cool. Editing proof block here. I just wanted to put this in there for anyone curious. If you weren't limiting yourselves to one character, I think the best combination Leo could use would be Corrin Joker. And I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. The support has been absolutely unreal as of late. If there's anything I got wrong, left out, or if you just want to say hi, leave a comment down below. Be sure to sub, all that yada yada, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!